Hi guys, and welcome to this special 50th edition of Phyrefli's Video Digest. As always, thank you very much for watching. Now, this edition being the 50th, perhaps it's fitting that the topic of discussion is something very weighty, and that is the community feedback for DICE's upcoming title, Battlefield 4. Now, what I'm going to do for the rest of this video is act as if I'm talking directly to a meeting of DICE employees rather than you, the individual viewer. Now, you guys may remember at the middle of last year, Daniel Matros asked me to put together the community's feedback for Battlefield 3 as it was at that point. So I sent this video, a Word document, and the feedback itself contained in an Excel sheet across to Daniel. Now, I know that Daniel has forwarded this across to you. I also know that Daniel had a 20-minute meeting with some of you who are watching this now. Unfortunately, I also know that that was the end of it. To the best of my knowledge, nothing ever happened to the feedback after that, and we, the community who put that feedback together, never received anything back. Not even to the best of my knowledge, a thank you. So you're probably wondering why I'm going and doing it again. Well, end of last year, I was contacted by a player called Myth1485 over on Mordor HQ. He wanted to put together a similar set of feedback for Battlefield 4. The theory being that if the feedback is presented while the game is being built, it has a higher chance of being implemented into the game. Now, I agreed with him and agreed to help him out with it. However, for various reasons, both of us ended up going offline for a couple of months. He's not returned, and I have, which is why I'm now taking over the project. But even then, I wasn't planning on going ahead and doing this feedback. It had been a couple of months, I figured nobody was interested. So you can imagine my rather distinct surprise when I looked on Battlelog and found a 30-page thread sticking to the top of the PC section all about the feedback from the community for Battlefield 4. And I have to thank a player called The Doctor for his work on that thread and his compilation of different feedback in there, because a lot of that is in the Excel sheet which is accompanying this video. I also need to say thank you to the EA mods, and especially Total FPS. You guys sticking it up there and then took it off again and then put it back up again, but you've left it there and it's still active for players to post. And finally, more than anything else, I want to say thank you to the players who posted up there, who took the time to logically and in a reasoned manner put down the issues and the ideas that they had for Battlefield 4. And it's purely because the community turned around and wanted to provide that feedback that I'm sat here recording this today on a very chilly Sunday in southeastern Spain, when I could be doing a billion other different things. So that, in a nutshell, showed you the power of the community. So rather than give a long, in-depth video, what I'm going to do is make this one relatively short. But what I do want to do is bring to your attention three different things which seem to be consistent with the Battlefield 3 feedback, the original one from the middle of last year, and the Battlefield 4 feedback, which is what I'm presenting today. The first of them is to bring back the Battlefield feel. Now, this Battlefield has always been about team play. You need to be able to do team play properly. You need squad VoIP. Ideally, you need a commander. You need to have maps which are large enough and with enough space between flags for vehicles to do their thing. Team play cannot be done with Battlefield 3 as it is today. But if you look back to what you achieved with Battlefield 2, 2142 in the earlier games, you can see it in spades. So the first one is to bring back team play, bring back the Battlefield feel. The second one can be encompassed in just a single word: options. Options, options, options. Some players want to have the game as it is today, where you have automatic health regen, automatic vehicle regen. Other players want to have it so that if you have you have ammo on vehicles, which is a limited resource, you then have to go and resupply your vehicle if it runs out. You can cater to both those kinds of players by providing server-side options. And you can cater on a much wider basis, and most of this is covered in the Excel sheet, by providing options for different things. You don't need a different game. You just need to provide the community with options to be able to play the game their way. Now, you said on many occasions that you want the Battlefield franchise to be played the player's way, and that's a noble aspiration, but it's pure hyperbole if you don't provide the ability to do that. So please, provide the options which allow the casual running gun players to play as they want, and the more tactical minded, team play minded players to play as they want. You don't need to recreate your game, you just need to provide the options. So that's number 2. The third one, and this is probably closest to my heart personally, is your communication with the community, and specifically your community management. Now, Daniel was promoted out of the community manager position somewhere around November, December of last year. There was no particular announcement. I actually only found out because somebody posted it on a forum and I checked his Twitter account. So we've been bereft of even basic community management by not even having a community manager. You've got millions of players. Who are we supposed to talk to? Now, over the last week or two, there's been a few DICE people on blog, specifically the Viking, slightly crazy name, but hey, if it works. And he's been doing a tremendous job of talking to people on blog. And I have to say, if you watch this video, and I hope you do, well done, fantastic job. But that doesn't stop the fact that there is no community manager at the moment. I know you're hiring, but please hire quickly and hire right. What I've been doing over the last few weeks, purely for my own benefit, is to take a look at how Daniel has been treated and how he's behaved. Not forgetting that Daniel was DICE's Battlefield community manager. I've looked at a gentleman called Ian Tornay, or who's known online as Crash7800. He's EA's Battlefield community manager. And another guy called Hugh Jeremy. He's a community manager from Unknown Worlds, the guys who have created Natural Selection 2. Now, I'm mentioning these 3 people because all of them are community managers, but only 2 of them have good reputations within the community. And why is that? And it's actually quite interesting because I think in many ways Daniel was almost set up to fail, whereas the other 2 guys have been much lower key, but are very active and have maintained very strong roots down into the community. So those are the 3 main parts and the main threads that come through from the BF3 feedback and the BF4 feedback. None of which I've put in the Excel sheet is incompatible with DICE. There's 4 tabs in the sheet. The first one is achievable critical items. So these are things the community thinks that DICE can achieve and hasn't already turned around and said no. So for example, Squad VoIP will be an example of that. The second tab is desired critical items. Now this is things that the community would like to see but which DICE has intimated or said it can't do or will not do. Mod tools is an example of that. The third one is requests. Now this is things that we'd like to see. So let's say smoke or flash grenades as an option. It's not in the game at the moment. It could be put in, might work, might not, but that's a request. And the final one is ideas, and that's a catch-all for basically anything else which is not rooted in Battlefield 3. So that could be, for example, Titan type maps. It could be other kinds of things, other kinds of ideas, such as the ability to fully customize your HUD, add things, take things, change colors. So those are the 4 different tabs on the Excel sheet, and the Excel sheet is the actual feedback from the community. So in the description of this video there's a zip file. In the zip file there's a rather short Word document. There didn't seem to be any point regurgitating what was in the BF3 feedback, and there is the Excel sheet. Now there's also a second zip file within the zip file which contains the original BF3 feedback, and that's there purely for reference purposes. If you've not read it, it's a good read, even if I do say so myself, and it contains a lot of pertinent information about the community and from the community about Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. Now I'm going to finish this video off by saying the same phrase that I put at the end of the Word document, because I think in a nutshell that really encapsulates the community's position towards DICE and Battlefield, and it is this: we are not anti-DICE, we are pro-Battlefield. I hope you take the time to read through the feedback. I very much hope you take the time to respond to the feedback, even if it's just a simple acknowledgement that it's been received and it's been read. And I hope that you take the time to work on your community management and to ensure that your players, your biggest advocates, are brought on board and that their voice is heard. Thank you for watching this video. Enjoy your gaming.